The points A, B and C are equally spaced. What are the coordinates of point B? So the way to solve questions like this is to write what we know on the axes of our coordinate grid. So we know that point C has an x coordinate of 10, so we can write 10 on our x-axis. We know that point A has a y coordinate of 2, so we can write 2 on our y-axis, and point C has a y coordinate of 6. Now we want to find the coordinates for point B, and we always write the x coordinate first. Now because the points are equally spaced, point B will have an x coordinate between 0 and 10. So that's an x coordinate of 5, because 5 is the number right in the middle of 0 and 10. And then the y coordinate will be halfway between 2 and 6, again because the lines are equally spaced, so point B will have a y coordinate of 4. Now point D is directly below point C. What are the coordinates of the point D? So the coordinates are 10, 0, because if it's in line with point C, it has an x coordinate of 10, and it has a y coordinate of 0 because it's on the x-axis. A hot liquid is left to cool in a science experiment. This graph shows how the temperature of the liquid changes as it cools. Read from the graph how many minutes it takes for the temperature to reach 40 degrees. So we can see that the time in minutes is going up by 5 minutes with each line. So what we can do is find 40 degrees, draw a line across, and then a line straight down from the point where it hits our line graph. Now we can see that that point is between 15 and 20 minutes, but it's closer to 20 than it is to 15. So I would estimate 18 minutes, but 19 minutes also gets you the mark. Now read from the graph how many minutes the temperature is above 60 degrees. So we can find 60 degrees, and it's above 60 for this time here. So if we draw a line straight down, we can see that it's between 5 minutes and 10 minutes, but it's closer to 5 than it is to 10, so I would estimate 7 minutes. An answer between 6 minutes and 7.5 minutes gets you the mark for this question. On Monday, all the children at Grange School each play one sport. They choose either hockey or rounders. There are 103 children altogether in the school. 27 girls choose hockey. Write all this information in the table, then complete the table. So we know that there are 103 children in the school, so that means the total choosing hockey and rounders will be 103, and the total number of boys and girls will also be 103. We're told that 27 girls chose hockey. So now we can work out the total number of children who chose hockey by adding the boys who chose hockey and the girls, and 22 plus 27 is 49. So we know that 49 children chose hockey, and there were 103 children altogether. So if we find the difference and subtract, that will give us the total number of children who chose rounders, and 103 minus 49 is 54. So now we can find this box here, because we know that 27 girls chose hockey, and there are 53 girls altogether. So again, we can find the difference and work out 53 minus 27. So that's 26. And now, because we know that 26 girls chose rounders and 54 children chose rounders altogether, we can work out the number of boys by subtracting the number of girls from the total. So 54 minus 26 is 28. And finally, we can find the total number of boys by working out 22 plus 28. So the number of boys who chose hockey and the number who chose rounders. So that gives us 50 boys altogether. The diagram shows 4 identical shaded triangles in a rectangle. The rectangle measures 36 centimetres by 24 centimetres. Calculate the area of one shaded triangle. So we know that the triangles are identical, so they're all the same size. So we can work out the base of the triangle by finding half of 36, because if two bases are 36, then we can divide 36 by 2, and that tells us that 18 centimetres is the length of the base of a triangle. Then we can find the height of a triangle, because two heights together give a total of 24, and 24 divided by 2 is 12. So to find the area of a triangle, to find how much space a triangle takes up, we multiply the base by the height and then divide by 2. So we can work out 18 times 12, which is 216. We'd need to use short multiplication here, and then we can divide that by 2 to get 108 centimetres squared for the area of one shaded triangle. Write the missing fractions. So here we have some missing fraction problems for multiplying, and multiplying fractions is very simple because we just multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and we have our answer. So we can think 3 times what is 9? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, so we can have a numerator of 3, and then 4 times 5 is 20, so our denominator is 5. But now we have 3/4 times something equals 1/4. So here we need to think 1/4 is the same as 3/12, because we can't multiply 3 by a whole number to get 1. So what we do is find an equivalent fraction. So then we have 3 times something is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3, and then 4 times 3 is 12. So 3/4 times 1/3 will give us 3/12, and then we can simplify that to 1/4. So they've simplified their answer. 2 of the ingredients of chocolate are cocoa and sugar. In milk chocolate, 20% of the mass is cocoa, 55% is sugar. A bar of milk chocolate contains 50 grams of cocoa. How many grams of sugar does it contain? So we know that 20% is cocoa, and that's the same as 50 grams. But we want to work out the mass of 55%. We can't multiply 20 by anything to get 55, or at least we can't multiply 20 by a whole number to get 55. But what we can do is first divide. So if we divide by 4, 20 divided by 4 is 5, and if we work out 50 divided by 4, that's 12.5. So now that we know that if 20% is 50, then 5% is 12.5. And we can get 55% from 5% because 5 times 11 is 55. So if we multiply 12.5 by 11, and of course we'd need to use short multiplication here, but that would give us 137.5. So the bar of chocolate contains 137.5 grams. So here, the reason why we divided to get 5%, because if we know 5%, we can work out 55%, because 5 is a factor of 55. But we could have also divided by 20 to get 1% and then multiplied by 55 to get 55%. 1 kilogram of grapes costs £5.80. Megan buys 700 grams of grapes. How much does she pay? So we can remember that 1 kilogram is the same as 1,000 grams. So 1,000 grams costs £5.80, but we want to find 700 grams. Now we can't divide 1,000 by a whole number to get 700. But what we can do is first find 100 grams by dividing by 10, and then we can multiply that amount by 7 to get 700 grams. So £5.80 divided by 10 is 58 pence, and then to find 700 grams we can multiply by 7, and 58 pence times 7 is £4.06. So that's how much she pays for 700 grams. Now 1 kilogram of cheese costs £13.50. Megan buys a piece of cheese costing £2.49. What is the mass of the cheese to the nearest 100 grams? So 1,000 grams or 1 kilogram is £13.50. So if we divide by 10, £13.50 divided by 10 is £1.35. So that's the cost of 100 grams. But Megan spends more than that. So let's multiply by 2 to find the cost of 200 grams. That's £2.70. £1.35 times 2 is £2.70. So we know that Megan's piece of cheese must be between 100 and 200 grams, but we want the mass to the nearest 100 grams. So because £2.49 is closer to £2.70 than it is to £1.35, we know that to the nearest 100 grams, the mass of the piece of cheese must be 200 grams. Work out the area of each shape. So for the rectangle, we can see that the width is 2 centimetres and the length is 7 centimetres. And to work out the area of a rectangle, we multiply the length by the width, and 7 times 2 is 14, so the area is 14 centimetres squared. And we can see that the shape takes up 14 centimetres of space, so that answer makes sense. And now, to find the area of the triangle, we need to know that the base has a length of 6, and the height, so the distance from bottom to top, is 4 centimetres. And to work out the area of a triangle, we multiply the base by the height and then divide by 2. So we need to work out 6 times 4, so that's 24, and then we can divide by 2 to get an area of 12 centimetres squared.